lace up your shoes and hit play. We're leaving the flashy side of Baku behind to find its soul. Ready? Let's go. We're starting our walk away from the marble and glass of the city center. As you turn onto Mirza Fatih Yakundov Street, the city immediately starts to feel more intimate. You're heading uphill now, and the sounds of traffic are being replaced by the everyday music of a Baku neighborhood. The clink of a tea glass, the distant call of a street vendor, and the wind whistling through old wrought iron balconies. These limestone walls around you? They've been soaking up the sun for over 100 years. Keep your eyes up. Every time the narrow street curves, those golden-tipped minarets flash between the rooftops, acting like a compass, pulling you higher above the city. The incline gets a bit steeper, but just as your breath catches, the narrow alleys suddenly break wide open. You've reached the plateau, and there it is, says Pir Mashidi, glowing like a white stone fortress against the sky. If you turn around, you'll see the futuristic flame towers behind you. But here, the air is still. From the busy streets to this total, golden silence, you've made it. Says Pir Mashidi. Stand before the Says Pir Mashidi at 7 Mirza Fatih Yakundov Street, and you aren't just looking at a building. You're looking at a story of resilience that began over a century ago. This isn't just any mosque, it was the first in Baku to be crafted from white stone. A bold architectural leap for the city when construction first broke ground in 1905. The air here feels different, quieter and warmer. As you approach, you'll notice 2 minarets rising from the flanks and a series of grand porticos. The entire project was the vision of a remarkable woman, Nabat Khanum Asherbayeva, a philanthropist who funded the construction to honor a 14th century sanctuary that once sat on this very spot. She didn't live to see its completion in 1914, but her son ensured her dream was finished. Step inside the 1,400 square meter worship hall, and the scale of it hits you. Sunlight catches the gold-plated tops of the minarets and the intricate calligraphy from the Quran that adorns the walls. The interior is a masterclass in Eastern design featuring lavish ornaments, decorated with paintings from Azerbaijani schools and Eastern patterns, opulent materials, a stunning mix of marble and redwood, with a dome made from local Qobustan stone. The mihrab, a prayer niche crafted entirely from marble, accented with gold. But Sezpir has a secret life too. Just 3 years after it opened, the October Revolution forced its doors shut. For decades, these majestic halls were stripped of their religious purpose, serving as a cinema and even a warehouse. It wasn't until 1943 that the call to prayer returned. Today it serves as the spiritual heart of the region, housing the Caucasian Muslim administration. As you walk across the vast namazgah carpet, which was custom-made to accommodate 720 worshippers, look up and let these details pull you in. The golden inscriptions. The most striking feature is the use of gold. The tips of the minarets and the delicate calligraphy labels throughout the interior are crafted from genuine gold. These inscriptions, featuring verses from the Quran, aren't just written, they are integrated into the architecture as a form of frozen music. The stone dome. While most domes are just structural, this one is a work of art made from local Qobustan stone. If you look closely at its surface, you'll see the Shahada, the Muslim declaration of faith inscribed 6 times, circling the apex. The double dome construction also creates unique acoustics where even a whisper carries a solemn resonance. The marble mihrab, Your eyes will naturally be drawn to the mihrab, the prayer niche, which is carved entirely from white marble. It is framed with intricate geometric patterns and more gold accents, serving as the focal point of the entire room. The material harmony. The interior is a sensory mix of expensive materials. You'll find pistachio wood used for the women's prayer hall, and rich mahogany for the massive doors and windows. This warmth of wood contrasts beautifully with the cool marble floors and the vibrant paintings from the traditional Azerbaijani schools of art. Artistic floor and roof. Even the ground you walk on is artistic, with tiled floors leading your gaze up to a roof decorated with elegant geometric patterns that seem to shift as the light changes throughout the day. For a quieter experience, visitors often recommend visiting between the 5 daily prayer times to fully immerse yourself in the silence and admire these details without distraction. Let's step back outside. The heavy mahogany doors close softly behind you, and the golden silence of the prayer hall is replaced by the gentle open-air hum of the mosque's grounds. Take a slow walk with me into the park that wraps around this sanctuary. We've got nowhere to be for the next 10 minutes, just you, the breeze, and the history of Baku. As you walk down the grand front steps, you aren't just entering a park. You're stepping onto a massive rooftop garden built over an underground garage. It's an engineering marvel disguised as a paradise. The air here is instantly fresher, filled with the scent of lavender and rosemary planted along the stone walkways. To your left and right, the garden is strictly structured in the tradition of Islamic design. Notice how the paths are lined with cypress and pomegranate trees, symbols of life and eternity that provide these pockets of deep, cool shade. It feels intentional, like the park was designed to keep that meditative feeling going even after you've left the mosque. Keep wandering toward the center. You'll hear it before you see it, the linear water axes in the central fountain. Water is the lifeblood of an oriental garden. And here it acts like a mirror, reflecting the white stone of the minarets. Stop for a second by the fountain. The mist on your skin feels incredible against the Baku heat. Look down at the planting beds. They aren't just random flowers. They're arranged in a carpet-like mosaic layout. You've got colorful ground cover roses and perennials that bloom at different times of the year. So the pattern of the park actually changes with the seasons. It's like a living, breathing Azerbaijani rug spread out at the foot of the mosque. Now, walk toward the edge of the plateau, where the stone balustrade meets the cliffside. This is the spot. Lean against the cool stone and just look. From here you have a commanding view of the city sprawling beneath you. Directly ahead, the flame towers pierce the sky. Their blue glass a sharp contrast to the 14th century dust of the neighborhood you just walked through. You can see the Caspian Sea shimmering in the distance. It's a place where you can feel the layers of Bakutha ancient tombs beneath your feet, the 1900s mosque behind you, and the futuristic skyline in front of you. As we finish our loop, notice the people. This isn't just a tourist spot, it's a backyard for the locals. You'll see old men sitting on the benches, their hands moving over prayer beads or backgammon boards. Mothers push strollers past the small ponds, and students from the nearby Islamic university sit under the oleanders with their books. There's no rush here. The park acts as a buffer between the sacred space of the mosque and the busy streets of the Yasamal district waiting for you outside the gates. Take one last look at those gold-tipped minarets reflecting the afternoon sun. Whenever you're ready, we can head back down toward the city. Alright, the peaceful silence of Sezpir is behind us. So we're about to transition from the 20th century straight into the future. It's a bit of a trek to the Heydar Aliyev Center, so let's get moving. This is the heartbeat of Baku's transformation. We're walking out of the mosque gates now, back onto Mirza Fatali Akundov Street. Feel that? The city noise is rushing back in. As we head downhill, watch the old limestone houses start to blend into the grander Parisian-style mansions of the first oil boom. We're aiming for the main artery of the city. You'll pass local doner shops and small repair Stalls where the air smells of roasted meat and engine oil, the grit that makes Baku feel alive. We're crossing over toward the Fuzuli Park area now. The streets are widening, and the cars are moving faster. This part of the walk is all about the contrast. Look to your right, you might see the Winter Park, a massive green strip that was carved right through the old city blocks. It's a perfect example of how Baku is breathing new life into its old bones. The architecture here is a wild mix. Soviet-era apartment blocks standing shoulder to shoulder with brand new luxury skyscrapers. Since it's a bit far to walk the whole way, imagine we've hopped into a cab or are cruising down Heydar Aliyev Avenue. This is the city's red carpet. The road is perfectly paved, lined with futuristic LED streetlights and manicured lawns. You're leaving the old Baku in the rearview mirror. To your left and right, the buildings are getting sleeker, shinier, and more daring. You'll pass the Baku Convention Center and start to see glimpses of white curves in the distance. The sharp corners of the city are starting to disappear, replaced by waves of white steel. Heydar Aliyev Center. And there it is. As we pull up, the Heydar Aliyev Center doesn't just appear. It unfolds. Designed by the legendary Zaha Hadid, this building is famous for having no sharp angles. It looks like a giant white silk scarf dropped onto a green hill. We're walking across the vast, undulating plaza now. The ground beneath your feet actually curves up to become the walls, and the walls curve to become the roof. It's a total rejection of the rigid, boxy Soviet architecture of the past. It's fluid, it's optimistic, and it's arguably the most beautiful modern building in the world. Just stand here for a second, at the base of the wave, and look up. You've gone from the golden traditions of Sezpir to a future that feels like it's still being written. We're walking toward Gate D, the main entrance on the west side. Take a look at the building from here. It's like a mountain of white silk. Now, as you step inside the massive atrium, head straight for the guest services desk. Here's the deal on the damage. For a full access pass to the museum and most exhibitions, it's 15 AZN. If you're a classic car lover, you'll want to set aside an extra 10 AZN for that specific wing. If you have kids under 6, they get to explore for free. Keep in mind, the center is closed on Mondays, so don't make the trek then. On weekdays, they're usually open from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., though they close a bit earlier at 6 p.m. on weekends. You've got your ticket? Good. Let's head up. We're gliding up the levels now. Notice how there isn't a single sharp corner? Even the stairs feel like they're flowing. Our first stop is the mini Azerbaijan exhibition. It's perfect if you're short on time. You can see every major landmark in the country, from the flame towers to ancient palaces, all in perfect miniature. Higher up, we enter the Heydar Aliyev Museum. This isn't your dusty, old-school museum. It's an interactive journey through the life of the man the building is named after. You'll see his personal cars, his diplomatic gifts, and multimedia displays that track the history of Azerbaijan through his eyes. It's as much a history of the nation as it is a biography. Now let's find the specialized galleries. Depending on when you visit, these halls might be hosting anything from Andy Warhol to traditional Azerbaijani puppets. There's a constant rotation of global art here. But for the grand finale, we head to the classic car exhibition. Imagine rows of perfectly restored machines, from vintage 19th century carriages to sleek mid-century roadsters, all parked against Zaha Hadid's futuristic white walls. It's a photographer's dream. Before we head back out, Let's grab a quick coffee at the in-house cafeteria. The windows are massive, and you can watch the shadows move across the park as the sun sets. You've just walked through the heart of modern Baku. You aren't just entering a building, you are stepping into a vision of the future. As you cross the threshold of the Heydar Aliyev Center, the first thing you'll notice is the lack of sharp edges. There are no corners here to catch your eye, only a continuous, fluid surface that Zaha Hadid designed to represent the optimism of a nation looking toward the future. The museum isn't a separate box inside the center, it is an integral fold of the building's skin. As we head toward the museum wing, the floor starts to slope upward. Notice the white parasol ceilings glowing with soft, diffused light. This is our home for the next hour, a space where history, personal legacy, and cutting-edge design blur together. We begin on the ground floor. This level is dedicated to the early years and the political rise of Heydar Aliyev. But look at how the story is told, not just through dusty books, but through high-tech interactive displays. To your left, you'll find the personal car collection. These aren't the classic cars from the basement. These are the actual armored vehicles used by Aliyev during his presidency, including a Mercedes-Benz 600 SEL Pullman and a rugged Soviet Zeal. They stand as silent witnesses to a time of immense geopolitical change. Further in, we see his writing table made of Karelian birch, still topped with his signature green-shaded lamp. Nearby rests the Quran and the Constitution of Azerbaijan. It's the very items he placed his hand upon during his inauguration ceremonies in 1993 and 1998. It's a powerful juxtaposition, a leader's most sacred tools housed in a building that looks like it was beamed down from another planet. As we glide up the curved ramp to the second floor, the narrative shifts to the international stage. This level houses an incredible collection of diplomatic gifts. Every item here, from ornate silk carpets and silver tea sets to ceremonial swords, was presented to Aliyev by world leaders. It's a visual atlas of Azerbaijan's relationships with the world. Spend a few minutes with the photo and video archives. There are interactive pods where you can watch footage of his meetings with figures like Bill Clinton, Jacques Chirac, and various monarchs. You'll also find his military awards and medals, including the Order of the USSR Red Star and his KGB colonel uniform from 1964. These artifacts tell the story of a man who navigated the complex shift from the Soviet Republic to an independent energy powerhouse. Reaching the third floor feels like the crescendo of the experience. The space is vast and bright. Here, you find the Mini Azerbaijan exhibition. It features meticulously crafted models of 45 significant architectural landmarks. From the ancient Maiden Tower to the futuristic Flame Towers. It's the entire country's architectural heritage condensed into one stunning hall. Next to it, the Masterpieces of Azerbaijan section celebrates the arts. You'll see traditional musical instruments like the tar and kamancha, and intricate hand-woven carpets that have made Azerbaijan famous for centuries. The lighting here is designed to make the silk threads and copperwork shimmer, creating a bridge between the ancient craftsmanship and the modern walls surrounding them. As we make our way back down the final ramp, take a moment to look at the joints where the walls meet the ceiling. You won't find any. This seamlessness is what Hadid called liberation from the plane. We end our hour back in the main atrium. The journey through the museum has been more than just a history lesson. It's an exploration of how a country's identity can be transformed into physical form. Whether you're here for the classic cars, the political history, or the miniature buildings, you leave with a sense of the sheer scale of Azerbaijan's ambition. And just like that, our journey through the heart of Baku comes to an end. We started this day at the Tsespir Meshidi, a place that feels like the very soul of this city. Walking through those old limestone streets of the Yasamil district, climbing the hill as the golden minarets teased us from behind the rooftops. It was a reminder that no matter how fast Baku moves forward, it hasn't forgotten where it came from. Standing inside that silent, gold-plated prayer hall, you can almost feel the century of history breathing through the stone. But then, we took a leap into the future. Coming here, to the Heydar Aliyev Center, is like stepping onto the set of a sci-fi movie. We spent an hour lost in the curves of Zaha Hadid's imagination, wandering through the life of a leader, marveling at the mini Azerbaijan models, and seeing the absolute fluidity of modern design. There isn't a single sharp corner in this building, and honestly, that's the perfect metaphor for Baku. It's a city that flows. It flows from the ancient to the futuristic, from the call to prayer to the hum of a global metropolis, from the mahogany doors of a 1900s sanctuary to the white, seamless waves of this architectural masterpiece. Baku has shown us today that it is a city of layers. It's a place where the 14th century and the 22nd century sit down for tea together. If you're planning your own trip, remember, the beauty isn't just in the destinations. It's in the walk between them. It's in the smell of the bakeries, the wind off the Caspian, and the way the light hits these white walls at sunset. Thanks for coming along on this stroll through time with me. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more adventures from the land of fire. I'll see you in the next one.